Are we going to see a triumphant return of Tickle Me Waldack?
No.
Oh, Marty doesn't know what we're on about, does he? I forgot. He wasn't
Oh, I
Marty,
don't
was he?
know. I don't know anything about Tickle Me
I
Wallback. So
no, I don't know how we got onto that now. We got about Jesse if he was a toy.
I don't remember how. I think it was because I was swearing in the pre-show or something.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Foul mouth.
Beardamus
Fuck,
Prime,
fuck.
arise.
Beardamus Prime. I like that.
Jesse says all the curse words.
Well, we're streaming
One
now,
day,
so I can't say it. But
A Nintendo Dad will rise from our ranks to light our darkest hour.
one may live, one may fall.
One may shave, one may grow.
but can't decide if Switch Lite is good or not.
That was now there right there was a little that was almost Emperor Palpatine there.
Yeah, we need to have the harmonic sound wave voice going on.
Oh yeah, you got to get you a tall box for that though. Unfortunately.
All right, we're ready. We've been streaming for a minute.
Alrighty, here we go. 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 239, recorded on July 18th, 2019. On tonight's episode, we talk about new Switch models and new Switch Joy-Cons. And do people in Japan really like the Switch Lite? Well, you're going to have to listen to find out. Jesse, cue that beautiful bean music. Hello, once again, everybody. It's Marty Estes here from Nintendo Dads, and this is episode 239. It is July 18th, 2019, one day before the release of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and deep already in the midst of the final Splatfest or Splatoon 2. Joining me tonight is Mr. Jesse Waldack. How are you, buddy? Or as we called you before the show here, Beardamus Prime.
Yeah, I can't even think of a voice to do it. I'm lousy with voices. But normally, people want to not have me play beat music.
Right.
Different definition, but okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's the first thing I thought of after I hit the button.
No, totally fine, totally fine. We're glad you're here with us tonight. Also joining us once again from across the pond, the man, the myth, the legend, Gary Gray. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm craving pie. Is that weird for 4:40 in the morning?
Not with the conversation we had in the pre-show. No,
I was going to say that the pre-show conversation about pie probably put that in your mind. So,
oh yeah,
I
nice
fully
cherry pie.
apologize. Fully apologize for the talk about the key lime pie and the Oreo pie that I ate about a week ago. It was delicious.
Oh, so we're going to be talking about some light switches today, then.
Yeah, as opposed to the heavy ones, right?
Yeah.
So tons of stuff to talk about tonight, as usual, as well as a couple of voicemails and your questions from over on the internet machines. And so with that being said, let's just dive in tonight, shall we? And of course, our news this week is brought to us by you guys over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you guys help us make all this cool content that changes the world. And big news that we found out this week that we thought you patrons would be interested in. We found out that we are currently sitting in the number 2 spot for Nintendo-related podcasts in the UK and Canada, and we are sitting at number 6 in North America as well, or in the United States.
In terms of iTunes searches.
Yeah, that's iTunes searches. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm very happy about that. I know Justin and the rest of us were very happy about it as well. Guys, it's really because of all our awesome fans who recommend us and play us and download us on the weekly and support us. And so thank you to each and every one of you for all that you do in supporting the show. And we have a new patron this week we want to call out. Tom, we want to thank you for jumping in and becoming a patron of the show, as well as Mecha Dragon 101 for joining back as a patron as well. And you can do this by going over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and pledging even just as little as $1 a month to join us on our Discord server and get in on monthly mayhem and see all the updates on our Patreon page, which, by the way, I want to make mention of that our last update on our page was that Justin is going to be off the show for a little bit as he makes the transition from Ireland back to Canada with his family, where they're going to take up permanent residence. And we're happy to say that Justin and his family are safely back in Canada as of this moment. And so we're happy to know that he made the journey safe and that everything's okay. He did say that he's going to be without internet for a little bit as they get everything set back up at home and unpacked and moved in. But as soon as he has that, he's going to be back. So we're looking forward to that. And Justin, good luck on the new chapter of life, which is really an old chapter because you're just back where you started.
It's reprising an old chapter, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good chapter. It's one that you like to read, right? It's your favorite chapter. I don't know. Let's talk about some Nintendo news. This week, I really think our biggest news this week takes the form of hardware and accessories that were announced by Nintendo themselves this week. The first of those being new Joy-Con colors have been announced, and these will drop October 4th. 2 new packs of Joy-Cons. These are going to be $79.99 USD, $99.99 Canadian. Gary, what do Joy-Cons, what's a pack of Joy-Cons cost over there for you?
I think it's like £60, 60, 69, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty.
I mean, is that roughly the same?
Yeah, I think so, roughly. We normally pay a little bit more for gaming stuff in general than North America, so.
Gotcha. Well, so does Canada, so shocker there, right?
Yeah.
So these 2 packs that are coming out,
70 British pounds is equivalent to $87. But of course, the price also includes VAT included, where tax is not included for us.
right? So it actually evens
they're
out.
probably
much.
getting the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're getting a little bit cheaper, right? Because I mean, we're gonna spend $88 after tax, right? So let's talk about these. Let's talk about these packs. The first one that was revealed was a purple and neon orange, or as they call it, neon purple and neon orange. These are brand new colors that have never been used as Joy-Con before. The left
Technically,
Joy-Con
I think
purple,
the blue and the purple were not neon, just the yellow and the orange.
it just says purple.
Yeah,
okay,
it's blue and neon yellow, and purple and neon orange.
okay. So the purple is the left Joy-Con. It's never been used as a Joy-Con color before. The neon orange is brand new as well. That's the right Joy-Con. And then the second pack that was announced is a dark blue left Joy-Con and the return of neon yellow right Joy-Con, which is, to me, is an odd choice. And, you know, I mean, we already have neon yellow Joy-Cons. And if you already have neon yellow Joy-Cons and you want a blue one, then this is a slap in the face to you. I mean, that's really the only way I know to describe it. Let's talk about these for a minute. What do you guys think? Interestingly enough, we tweeted about this too, and I want to wade into this here too. That in the midst of Kotaku publishing multiple articles about Joy-Con drift and complaining about it, Nintendo drops brand new Joy-Con colors after Kotaku says that Nintendo will not respond to them about the drift issue. So what are we thinking here? What's going on? Do these correspond to anything? Because, you know, the last time we saw Joy-Con colors, it was Mario Odyssey. Last time we saw Joy-Con colors, it was Pokemon Let's Go. It was Smash. Usually these colors come out to coincide with something. But I'm not really able to put my finger on blue and yellow and orange and purple.
Orange and purple, I think, is the just Halloween colours, which they're coming out Halloween and Luigi Mansion's out. So I think that's got something to do with it. As for the yellow and blue, they're just like money. So
They have extra stock. And why did they
yeah.
throw it in a new shinier box? I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking
But,
about purple and orange, and then I'm like, the more I look at that, the uglier it looks. So
Oh, see, I love the neon orange. I think it looks spectacular.
yeah, so
But
because I
Colin,
still have my launch Joy-Con, and so some games sometimes have problems with them.
yeah, Colin Harris over in our Patreon or over on the Discord, he's one of our patrons. He brought up a great point, and he said, if I could have all purple or all orange, then it would be great. But because
Right,
it's
I would
one
get the
or
all
the
purple.
other,
That would definitely would get.
yeah, because it's one or the other, he's even with the blue and the yellow, he's not really into it.
People
And
still
I
asking
think a
if
lot
it's
of
the
people
same
feel that way.
blue. I think it's a blue similar to this.
It is that blue. It's the exact same blue, actually.
Yeah.
And you know
So
what's funny about it is
it's not
the
the neon
exact same
blue, it's the
blue.
darker blue.
It's the exact same blue that's being used on the Japan exclusive Dragon Quest Joy-Cons as well.
What? I
I
didn't
believe
even know
so.
they existed.
Well, there's a Dragon Quest 11S system that you can only get by winning a lottery in Japan.
Right. Oh, and I know lottery does a lot. I mean, Japan does a lot of lottery things for pre-order. Is because that's how they get around the first come first serve and people getting upset. Is everyone
Right.
still has a fair chance even if you buy the last ticket.
Well, I think that this is. I think
So,
that
I'm not surprised.
I think it's the same color that's being used. It's called the Lotto edition or the LOTO limited set. But yeah, it's similar. It's pretty similarly close to the blue that's being used there, which is interesting. It's like they just took the logo off of it, and which is a slime. They just took the logo off of it, and now they're releasing that Joy-Con.
I would love a slime on my Joy-Con.
Well, you know what? I'm really thinking that we take some of our Patreon funds and appropriate them so that you can get the Slime Pro controller and do a review of that with that.
No, the
I'm-
big
I'm-
round.
I don't
totally
really use my
with
Pro
that.
controller much anymore, so I don't know how much that beneficial that would be.
You can buy one of these Lotto limited sets on the website I'm looking at for $447 or $477.55.
What a bargain.
Oh, well,
I don't want one that much.
It kind of is. I don't know. We'll talk about why when we move on from the Joy-Cons. So are either of you getting a set of these at all?
So
I still might, but unlikely.
I really wish they just did literally these packs in like double colors rather than doing like mismatched. I would jump at the double purple in a heartbeat. However, what I hold in my hands right now is 4 left Joy-Con and one right Joy-Con, which are all going back to Nintendo this week for repair. I will not be buying any more of these things until they get sorted because four left and one right. That's a little bit of a joke, to be fair, for how long the Switch has been out. But that's the extent of the drift, and I completely back Kotaku on it. That Nintendo has built such a shoddy system in terms of just generally the way it works. I mean, all you hear about. I mean, we heard the horror stories when it first came out, but we still hear nothing about. We still hear nothing but bad things about Joy-Cons and the drifting. And without getting too far ahead and too rambly, it's why I don't understand why anybody who's got a Switch who had Joy-Con drift would ever want a Switch Lite at the minute, because we have no idea whether that's going to suffer from the same thing. And if it does, well, that's your entire system down.
Yeah.
Not just Joy-Con.
And the thing is that if your entire system goes back to Nintendo for repair for a control issue with the Switch Lite, we already know of at least 2 games that you're not getting your save data back.
Yep, and they love to wipe them as well.
Yeah.
You send a system back with a control stick issue, they will just wipe it. So
I don't care. Pokemon, Splatoon save data, forget it.
So yeah, there's no way I'm going to
Just
buy any more
fine.
Joy-Cons until something gets sorted.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
which is kind
From what I
you just brought
understand
up
at this
a
point,
good point, which is probably might be an expensive way to do it, but a good way to get around that is if you buy a second Switch, might be the Switch Lite just because it is cheaper, just to be a profile mule. Copy your profile to it, send your other system to Nintendo to get repaired, and when you get it back, copy the profile back.
it's the most expensive
Yeah.
Nintendo way of protecting your uncloud uploadable save data ever. Please don't. We're not going to allow you to put it on a memory card, but you can put it on this $199 other Switch that we're going to sell you that has no detachable Joy Cons.
I mean,
Anyway,
realistically, I kind of understand them not letting you transfer your Splatoon save via the cloud. So why doesn't it just get tied to Switch Online again, completely? Like instead of the way that Fortnite does it, where you log in on an account and it's saved there and nobody can tamper with it. Then
Well, because they don't want to deal with all the saves all the time. They just want to deal with the backups.
yeah.
right.
Okay, so
Well, and
we
that's the
we're
With
headed.
difference
Fortnite,
in,
everything's
but
on
but
Epic.
but again, Gary, that is the difference in everything being on servers versus the way they do it,
You know
right?
what? First time I've been back in ages, and I didn't expect to get so negative, but like I've got issues this week.
Hey,
I've
well,
got a lot
Gary,
of issues
listen,
this week.
listen, don't complain, please don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we're not allowed to complain about anything that Nintendo does. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I because I just
Just
thought of
saying.
this a possible workaround of why the reason why Nintendo doesn't want us having cloud backups of some of those games is to limit cheating. But I think if they limit the number of times you can restore the backup to
That would solve it.
even calling it doing that once a week, I think
Yeah,
would be annoying enough that people wouldn't do that. Yeah, they can
I
still do
got
it
you.
once a week, but it's better than constantly, which is what they're worried of. That way, we can still have it saved. I have never time traveled in any game because of a cloud of a cloud save, even though I know I can. And the only reason why I ever restored from a cloud save is because I got a different Switch.
right.
So that would be a legitimate reason why you'd want to do this. But
Or just make it easier to report players. That would be the easiest workaround,
right,
right?
well, on games like Pokemon, you're not necessarily cheating online. You're still cheating single player, but still you have the ability to, save your backup, transfer that Charizard to a friend, restore your backup. Now you both have a Charizard. They don't want that people to do that.
Yeah, it's all funny, but either way, I mean,
Well,
swinging back around.
let's circle back around to
I was gonna
Joy-Con,
say swinging back
right?
around to Joy-Con.
So if they're double, if they're dual, you'd buy it. But as it stands right now, till something happens with the drift issue, until maybe those duals come out, you're out.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, the most gorgeous looking Joy-Cons were a double pair, which was the Labo ones for the competition, and they never
Yeah.
released those. The orange is pretty close. The orange is the closest.
The orange is a nice color. It's
Um,
almost I'm just wondering how close it is to the
Even.
orange spice GameCube color.
Ooh, yeah. So like, I like the idea of the double orange, and double purple would be my favorite color, and I would get those in a heartbeat. I'm not a fan of. That's why I had the boring launch switch with the normal grey coloured Joy Cons. It's just because it was symmetrical.
Yeah.
I'm really not a fan of
Oh,
these two different
I actually
colours.
wanted the red blue, but the gray was the only one available when I did my order.
As someone who has 8 Joy-Cons plus a Zelda version D-pad Joy-Con from Hori,
These three are the only three I own.
I guess I'll be skipping these until catastrophic Joy-Con failure. But it's good to know that they're still going to be on shelves, because like I was at Target today and they had every variety of colored Joy-Con in the box ready to go. They had the yellow, they had the reverse red and blue neon, they had The Splatoon Joy-Cons, they had the gray. So they're ready to go. These are going to come out October 4th. If you still need Joy-Cons, I can't say if they're going to be any different internally. Probably not, because they're already sitting in boxes somewhere ready to ship out. But maybe Nintendo will address some of this Joy-Con drift issue here soon. Let's talk about another hardware revision to the Switch. We alluded a little bit last week to the possibility of a brand new Switch model that would be released, and there were rumors circulating that this was indeed the case and was going to happen. And since then, Nintendo has pretty much confirmed it by showing off brand new box art, but also talking about new battery life that these models would boast. And so in late August, the original Nintendo Switch will be phased out, and a new model is set to replace it with a brand new box design that is pretty much all red, featuring new sides and a new shot of the Switch. The new model will have a product code that is HAD-S-KABAA, that's Japan, and HAC-001 or -01 in other regions. And so basically
I think that's how it looks with the parentheses. So
yeah,
001-01.
Yeah, so originally it was HAD-S-KAAA and HAC-001, and these add some revisions. The only difference that Nintendo is boasting with this new Switch model is a stronger battery life that basically doubles the original Switch battery life by a good bit. The original battery life being 2.5 to 6.5 hours. It's a 40 to 80% boost over the original and a 28 to 50% boost over the Switch Lite. The new Switch will boast a battery life of 4.5 to 9 hours. In other words, in real world numbers, Nintendo says that you can play Breath of the Wild on this for about 5.5 hours on one charge, whereas before it was 2 to 2.5 hours. So do we really think that the battery life is the only difference, or is that all they're giving us right now, or is there something going on under the hood that will be data mined later?
Based on what we've talked about last week, where there was a slight chip revision over the original model, sounds like the chip revision, I think, is in the Lite and in this new one. So while it doesn't give more power than the original chip, it's less energy has less energy consumption, which is one reason why it's got a higher battery life. So the Lite probably has a smaller battery than the original Switch, but the new Switch and the original Switch would have the same size battery that can last longer due to the other internals using up less energy. Maybe it'll have a bigger capacity slightly as well. That's
right.
My thoughts.
Well, I guess the big question is who's going to buy this?
Not me. I think it's really cool that it's got a better battery life. I don't think it'd be worth buying another Switch for. I think if you play it portably, realistically, that's quite a long time to play for. 9 hours on its longest stretch, consistently in handheld. I think it's a really good revision. I think they've just done it to secure the Switch more than anything, and it's just a benefit that came along with it. But it's nothing but a good thing. We can't deny that.
I'm not going to get one at launch, but if I ever feel my old system is like getting ready to die, then definitely I'd want the latest model.
I think that for the majority of people, I think fall in your camp, Jesse. Actually both of your camps. I think it's that's really cool. I'm glad that it's there, but I'm not going to rush out and buy it. But if Nintendo really wanted to make people rush out and buy it, if they had somehow been able to do this, plus include a bump in onboard system memory, storage, then I think that would actually have people out trading in their old ones, buying new ones, right?
Mm-hmm. See, the thing is for me is even if it was a terabyte model, If the Switch came out, the next Switch came out, same price, better battery life, terabyte model, I still wouldn't change. And the reason is because memory and battery is something that's easily solved, like so easily solved, it actually kind of hurts. Um, you can buy SD cards and the auto archiving. I know people don't like to do it, but it really is easy and it doesn't take long to re-download a game. So whereas I know people want a bigger a system with a bigger memory, I just think I would rather have it cheaper and expand the memory as you want, which is the right move. I mean, we had no choice but with the Wii U, but I ended up having a terabyte with that, and that was cheaper than if they released a terabyte model, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I slapped a 2 terabyte drive in my Wii U, and
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even think I came close. I don't think I ever filled half of it. I never, and so yeah, definitely overkill for what, but sure beats for cleaning the fridge.
Yeah, right.
So I don't want to invade a second here. I'm going to invade though. I missed the Switch Lite discussion last week. So I just want to quickly throw my 2 cents in. If that's
No,
okay
I
with
mean
you
this
guys.
is good because it's going to kind of help us segue into talking about something else with the light. So go ahead.
So now that this other revision's out of the OG model, I don't understand why anybody would want one if you have an original Switch anyway. But if you really wanted to buy one, if your system was going, I still don't understand why you'd go for the Switch Lite now. Like I think the Switch Lite is an awesome console. I think it's a good idea. Like I said, I've got reservations about the Joy-Con drift because it looks like it's using the same sticks. Um, but really don't understand why you'd want one over an original Switch if money wasn't an issue and if you already had a system. I would literally just stick with what you got. Now, the big question is, as Nintendo dads, is the Switch Lite a kids console? And to which I would also say no. I did get asked the question. Somebody messaged me on Twitter asking between the two consoles, which one would you buy for a kid? I would still say the OG Switch, and the reason is because for that extra little bit of money, you're getting two controllers out the box. That's the first thing. You're getting two controllers. A big deal to me. The second thing is Labo. Labo is a kids thing, and it is, despite what people say, especially being as we're in the hardcore crowd, it's such an experience for kids. It's really great. It teaches them about like engineering and exactly the wonders that you can do with just an IR sensor and tilt like controls and stuff like that. And Mario Party is also a really good game for kids. And even though that you could get a set of Joy-Cons and play it on the Switch Lite, you're basically spending more money anyway to get that other set of Joy-Cons, which would come with the OG Switch. So I actually still think the OG model's the better option for kids. I think the Switch Lite is the best option for someone who travels a lot or someone who hasn't got a Switch but will only pretty much play it one player. Other than that,
Yeah,
I still think the OG is king.
with all the debate about whether the Switch Lite should be a thing or not, I think a lot of that would have been alleviated if they just announced both units at the same time.
Yeah, you know what? I think the Switch Lite completely needs to be there. Like, I'm not against it in any sort of way. I just,
Yeah.
as Nintendo fans who are going to be listening to this, we're all in the hardcore crowd, right? The Switch Lite will have nothing for you really, other than a D-pad. But you can get D-pad Joy-Cons anyway. That's a problem that's already been fixed.
Yeah, 'cause
Um,
there was a lot of there is a crowd out there who was thinking about getting the Lite just for the extra battery life, kind of
yeah, now that's
begrudgingly
gone.
because of all the cons because of it. Now with this new one, we have even a better battery life and no cons. So
Yeah.
that's why if they just announced both at the same time, half
So-
of the discussions last week would have not happened.
Here's the thing. A week out from Switch Lite, I think I figured out the audience for it. All right. And I'm with Gary. I don't think it's kids because you're not going to give that to kids for two reasons. Number one, because of the screen and because it's going to get dropped, right? Because it's going to get cracked. And then you're going to have to send your whole unit in for repair. Number two, the Joy-Con drift issue that we're not sure is going to happen. I mean, wait for that first initial wave of that to happen, and Nintendo is going to wish that they had addressed it if they haven't already. But here is why the Switch Lite exists, and it's for two games. It exists for Pokemon, Sword and Shield, and it exists for Animal Crossing the New Horizons. That's why. And it exists because it is a completely Japan-centric device that they're just
Completely.
happening to sell outside of that country.
I can tell you
And
what
the
game it's
reason,
not for.
yeah, it's not for Super Mario Party.
It's not, well, I was going to say, not for Builders 2, because the text is so damn small, it's hard to read it on the OG. So I played
Really?
most of it on the screen, on a big TV, in order to read the text. So if you're
Yeah.
trying to play that on the light, that's even smaller screen, you are going to have eye strain.
So, but here's the thing, it exists so that they can, in the background, they can continue to say, and look, I'm going to call it like it is. And I know some people, like, there was literally a person who this week was like, y'all are too negative on the show. Whatever. I'm not saying this is, I want it to be clear that this is not negative. I'm just calling Nintendo out on what it is. The whole talk about we'll continue to support the 3DS as long as it's blah, 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 it's BS. And the reason for that is I don't see any situation that exists in our current climate with Nintendo where the 3DS continues to be profitable for very long, period. And so what they're doing is they're releasing the Switch Lite now so that in a year or so, when people finally realize that the 3DS is a dried up dead horse carcass that everybody is continuing to beat, then they can say, but we've had the Switch Lite out. Look at all these games. Look at all these games you can now get on the Switch Lite. There's Pokemon and there's Animal Crossing and there's this and there's that, and they're all good for mobile gaming.
If Nintendo's going to listen to one group over another, they'll definitely listen to their investors over the fans. And I think, but I think it's more to appease the investors to say that, yeah, we're still selling the 3DS, but we'll come back in a year and say we aren't selling Switch 3DSs anymore. We're killing this thing. It's more for the investor. The fans already. Okay. Most of the fans already know the 3DS is dead and have known this for years.
You're right. And the thing is that the fact that there's no game scheduled for it shows.
Right.
What about Mike number 9?
There wasn't even an announcement at E3 this year. It wasn't even a 2020. You remember when Bowser's Inside Story got announced and it was like 2019. They didn't even give a date, right? They just said 2019. They didn't even. There's not one game that they've announced for 3DS that has said 2019 or 2020. And here's why: they don't exist. They don't exist. And so all of the Jesse's right when he says that 3DS is probably thriving on console revisions only. Yeah. At this point, like people buying up all the different kinds so they can catch them all or whatever. But the thing is that the Switch Lite exists so that when everyone finally comes to and realizes that the 3DS is gone, they can point to it and say, look how successful it's been. We've already got all these games. You should buy in.
So I do honestly, I do think that the Switch Lite is a decent console. I feel sorry, so sorry for Nintendo's marketing team, but I do think it is. I think it's a neat thing. I think it's just Nintendo really likes to confuse their brand. They've done this multiple times over and over again, and they've done it to the extent of the Wii U, right?
Yeah. And those people complaining that the Lite shouldn't be called a Switch because it doesn't switch.
Yeah,
if they did that, it'd be more confusing.
Sega fans are out there pointing to the Sega Nomad every time someone says that it should not be called Switch Lite, and they are exactly right.
The thing is I mean, Switch No Switch would be a better name for it, but it's one of those things where, like, I'd hate to be working their marketing team right now because, I mean, the confusion with the 3DS, like, and 2DS and 2DS XL, new 2DS, whatever, like, it's all confusing, and I think that the Switch is heading the same way. Now, this doesn't affect us, guys. We know what's going on. We know the score. That's fine. But you would be surprised at how many people really don't know. And you'd be surprised at how many members of staff in game stores really don't know.
Yeah. Well, and if staff in a game store doesn't know, like if game staff or GameStop staff or whatever other store you visit doesn't know, then what about grandma who's
Yeah.
trying to buy something for her grandkids, right? And walks in and says they ask for a Switch, and they take them over and show them what is now going to be regular Switch, revision Switch, and Switch Lite,
I
right?
don't think
And
they'll have both models, on the original and the new, on the shelves at the same time.
you don't,
No, I don't.
Jesse.
Not in,
My Walmart is still trying to sell Wii Music for $49.95.
well, there's no replacement to it.
Walmart's will have Switch, old
Well,
school Switch on the
it-
mark on there until dust collapses the
So
box.
if they do, they will most likely be doing a slight discount on the OG to get it off the shelf. And
They should. It should go to $249.99.
So I've actually
that's what
read an article about about the UK stock, and they are saying that they're not buying it back. Like sometimes the distribution companies buy them back to get them off shelf. They're not doing that. So it says that the new Switch revision will be on the shelf when other stock is depleted.
Yeah, I think that's how I figured they do it. They go through their original inventory and then go. And I don't think it was said, but we did say at least North America and Japan, the new Switches start in late August, but they won't be available until September in Europe.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for mentioning that. And so Japan actually ran a poll about the Nintendo Switch Lite, a reaction poll, and basically it asked the questions: do you own a Switch today? Do you plan on buying a Switch Lite? Or do you plan on buying the normal Switch? They got about 5,000 responses, and here's what they found. 9% say they do not own a Switch, but they plan on buying the original. 10.4% do not own a Switch and will pass on the Lite.
Note this
17
survey was done before the announcement of the new model.
That's true.
So that's not a factor of this.
Owns a Switch and plans on buying a Switch Lite. So around 18% that say they already own one, but they'll buy the Lite. 29.4% do not own a Switch but plan on buying a Switch Lite. But then the largest percentage, 33.3%, they own a Switch and they will pass on the Lite. So what you can look at that and go, oh, doom and gloom, 33.3%, they're not buying it. But then you take the 24.
They're not the target audience.
The 29.4% and the 17.9% that say they plan on buying it. And now you're over 40% of those surveyed, of those 5,200 that were surveyed. Over 40% of those are saying, yes, I'm buying this console.
47 will buy the Switch Lite, whereas, let's see, what was it? Which one was it?
19.4% total combined from the other two that say they will pass on the Switch Lite or buy the original.
Right. Yeah, that's what I wanted. 33.3 plus. So yeah, 47% say they'll buy the Switch Lite. 43% says they'll pass on the Switch Lite, and then the last 9% saying that they'd rather buy the original.
Right. So it's pretty even.
Yeah.
Pretty even split. So it, really, it comes back to the proofs in the pudding. We'll see. There were a bunch of people, if you remember back before the Switch launched, who were saying, "Oh, this will never sell. It's going to tank. Nintendo's already flopped. Doom and gloom. Blah blah blah. Thunder clouds and lightning." Or actually, should we say thunderbolts and lightning? I don't know.
Very frightening.
It was. It was a scary time. But now look at where the Switch sits, right? And this, here was something I thought that crossed my mind the other day. Are they going to include sales of Switch Lite in with sales of Switch, and is that going to boost overall predictions for the year, or is it separate?
Yeah, I've already heard the term family, so I don't think it's going to be shit together.
They'll
Switch
probably
family.
when they give the overall numbers of lifetime sales, it'll be all three revisions in one. They may split them out for investor calls, but when they say at the end of the generation they sold 80 million units, that's between all three models.
Yeah.
Just like there's been 17 models of 3DSs.
Yeah, and I mean the original, the OG revision, that's nothing new really, and I mean it happened with the Wii where they took things away rather than adding it in. So at least this time it's a good revision.
Right. Maybe they've learned their lesson on their revisions. I don't know. It's kind of like I did read someone who said, Nintendo revised the 3DS and took away the 3D, and now they're
Yeah,
revising the Switch and taking away the switching.
yeah, that's true. That's very
Anyway,
true. Yeah,
let's move on. Let's
Well,
talk about some.
before we do, did you see Megadad's comic
I
I
did.
did.
about the
Yeah,
Hot
I saw.
Pocket?
Yeah, just a pile of meat and cheese.
That's cold.
It's a hot pocket. We can call it whatever we want. It was brilliant. That was fantastic, guys. Let's talk about a few gaming release date announcements that we feel like you need to know about that are noteworthy. Some things that stick out to us, but also some things that maybe are a little off the wall. And I think this first one is one of these. Tetris 99 is getting a physical release on September 6th here in North America. And I believe that's the same date around the world as well. In fact, it may already be out in a few areas. $29.99 gets you the game, 12 months of Nintendo Switch Online, as well as all released DLC. What's important about this announcement is that, we had the big block DLC 1 that you got when you bought the DLC pack. And those were the two offline single player modes. And we don't know what's coming down the pike. We didn't know what was coming for Big Block DLC 2. But the article does mention that there will be offline multiplayer modes that will be added in the future that will also be included with this package. And so it's safe to say that Big Block DLC 2 is probably going to be 2 offline multiplayer modes that will be added to the game. And who knows, it's going to be after September 6th because it mentioned that they're coming later after release. So probably toward the end of the year. Does this just strike anybody else as weird? You got a free game.
Well, I think that's you still can't play the online components without the Nintendo Switch Online, but of course you are getting now 12 months for free. Free, you're paying for it already, but just free. But I think this is mainly for those who say if it doesn't have a box, I don't want it.
Right. And I think too, it's let's call a spade a spade. This is a vehicle to sell people Nintendo Switch Online.
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
That's really all it is.
Just like Wii Play was not, it was one of the top sellers, and it wasn't because of the game. It's because it came with a Wii remote.
Yeah.
Right. It's to get you an extra Wii remote.
I mean, there is people who are really against Switch Online, so it is good that it's getting a physical release for the people who want to play Tetris, except I kind of find that pointless because Tetris 99 is all about the 99, so it's
I
pretty
enjoy
pointless.
the offline mode. I mean, it's Tetris, and you can use your themes. So
if you've unlocked them.
If you've unlocked them by playing online, yeah.
This is the question is, I wonder if the 2 themes that have already been offered for Maximus Cup are going to be a part of this.
That's a good question. I still say they will be available as paid DLC in the future for those who plays the digital version.
Right.
And if they do that, they definitely will be for the cart because it's the same game. But it also wouldn't surprise me if they gave them for you for free on the cart.
I think that would be smart, actually.
And if they do, they should be telling people this.
I agree. You get 2 free themes. You get a Game Boy and a Splatoon 2 theme. Anyway, that's going to be out September 6th if you're interested in it. Also coming out. I forgot
what I said. So if I remember, soon, I'll come back to it.
Coming out relatively soon, July 25th, is Picross, Lord of the Nazarick, $9.99. This has Tickle Me Waldak written all over it.
I am so happy.
So what is this game?
See, I don't know if Nazarick is an existing IP that they're just slapping Picross on, or if this is something completely new. But it's basically Picross with a story.
Okay.
That's what my understanding about this is. I posted a link to the trailer in the Discord, and I think it was Tim, but someone replied I haven't even watched this yet, but just based on that art and the title, I'm in.
So, according to the internets, since you asked, Jesse, the Great Tomb of Nazarick is a major location in the Overlord light novel and anime.
Okay. Is that related
It
to
is.
the Overlord
It
game
originally
that was last
served
gen?
as the guild headquarters of Ains Ul Gown in the game Yggdrasil. That means nothing to
I
me. But you
yeah.
just saw all you saw was Picross with story, and you were like, "I'm down."
And with anime cutscenes. So what's not to love?
Right,
If you
right. So
like
I mean,
Picross and you like anime, why not?
this is right up your alley, and you got
Yeah,
this game for free, right? Because of
yeah. Because
gold
I
coins.
redeemed my gold coins, so I already pre-purchased the game. It comes out next week, and it's $10 otherwise, but I got it for free.
There you go, $10.
And
Well,
Tim says it was him that made that comment.
yeah. So 1,000 gold coins well spent, right?
Yes,
Because Picross, because you don't. I mean, really, if
you
the
know
story
I play
makes
the
no
hell out of those
sense,
Picross
and
games.
the cutscenes make no sense, you don't care. It's just it's Picross.
Right. The trailer said there was some number over 500 puzzles, like 519 or something like
Oh,
that.
there you go.
So yeah, that's 30 hours of content. 20
Yeah.
to 30 hours of content. So that's easily worth
Okay.
$10.
That's $10. Yeah. Also coming out on October 29th, a triple pack of games as well as an HD remaster of an old Wii game. Resident Evil Triple Pack is releasing on October 29th for $59.99, and it's going to include Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. The digital versions of 5 and 6 also release on October 29th on the eShop. But in typical Capcom fashion, this triple pack is only going to have a physical copy of Resident Evil 4. And it includes download codes for Resident Evil 5 and 6.
All of the gigabytes.
I don't think that's just a Capcom thing.
Oh, it's not, but they're the ones
It's
who
really not, no.
started it and continuing it.
It's
There's
just
a re-
stupid.
Both
There's a
Mega Man
reason-
collections have done this. I think previous
Yeah.
Resident Evil collection might have done it. Did they have one? I don't know. It's been done many
No.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, but it's a neat pack, I suppose. Except I'll probably just wait till they all go into sale and pick it up for like a fraction of the price of that.
Yeah.
Maybe Street
And
Fighter
see, really,
collection did
that's
that too.
where, if you wait, that's where the consumer wins, right? Because the eShop games are probably never, the digital version is probably never going to go on sale.
True.
So not like the triple pack will. So there you go. And you're picking up, you'll probably pay the price for one of them and get all three. I still think $59.99 is a little steep for that. Also releasing that day is Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, which I am all on like Donkey Kong. I cannot wait. I love Super Monkey Ball. It's coming out. It's $39.99. That's here in the States. This is a remastered and redone version of the Banana Blitz game that came out on the Wii back in the day. It includes regular single-player mode and over 50 multiplayer mini games. So definitely will probably be worth the value. I hope that they have fixed the motion controls if that's how they make you do it. If not, I hope they just let you play with the Joy-Con.
Yeah, I think they'll probably let you play with sticks this time. I'm hoping they let you play with sticks this time.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the
I'm in
greatest
for
of
this, though.
it wasn't the greatest of the Monkey Ball games, but I mean, it's Monkey Ball. Come on,
I'm gonna
what's
buy
not to
it.
love?
Like I'm buying it just for the mini games. I'm
Yeah.
being serious because I loved. Like my father-in-law and I bonded initially in the first months of my relationship with my wife over Monkey Golf on the original Super Monkey Ball on GameCube.
Yeah, it was
He
fantastic.
saw me playing it
wasn't
one day. He loved golf, and it was like super crazy putt-putt. Honestly, if you've never played the original Super Monkey Ball, you owe it to yourself to like, and you have a GameCube, you owe it to yourself to get that game. It's a whole lot of fun. Mini games are ridiculous.
I've never played a
Monkey
Ball
Target and Monkey Golf are the best. And Monkey Pool. I don't know if Monkey Pool was in the first one or if it was just in the second one, but both of them are super good games. Story makes absolutely no sense. And this one, an evil space pirate alien monkey kidnaps all your bananas.
Does the story matter?
No, you're rolling around trying to get to the end. That's about it.
It's the tale as old as time, just like Donkey Kong Country.
Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. Monkeys and their bananas. That doesn't rhyme at all. And then release date also announced this week for a pretty big Nintendo game, first party game. Luigi's Mansion is releasing on October 31st, 2019 on Halloween, and will cost $59.99 as well. But I am super glad to see a confirmed release date for this, and I'm so glad they're getting it in October. It's the perfect time for this game. I just want to ask a question about Luigi's Mansion. All right, so the story of this game is that Luigi and his friends have gone on vacation, and they go to a hotel where his friends get kidnapped by ghosts. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has to save them. They revealed that the name of the hotel is the Last Resort Hotel.
Comforting.
Like when you're booking this, Luigi, are you not like
Maybe we're related. Because I once at it's a Chinese restaurant called Good Look, and I needed it.
once you got inside, it was definitely you needed good luck.
Yeah, definitely needed Good Look. So I don't know, that's not too weird.
Like if I'm booking a hotel and it's called the Last Resort Hotel, I'm probably not going there.
Well, I thought the story was
Luigi.
I thought the story was that he gets invited to there, or I got my wires crossed there.
Okay, maybe he gets invited there, but why would you go? You got invited to a haunted mansion
Because it's
twice.
for free. It's
Yeah.
free.
But Mario, I didn't see the name of the hotel. You know, how do you explain this? Like, at what point do people quit going with Luigi places? Like, right? Just don't go. I don't know. And I feel like both, like, think about this. It harkens back to Super Mario Sunshine. Like, both times that Mario and Luigi have tried to take a vacation, it gets ruined.
Yeah, they should just not. They should just sit at home and watch TV.
Yeah.
It's safer that way.
I don't know. They can sleep in the pipe house. There's a deep cut reference. Just stay at home in the pipe house, watch TV, have a staycation. I don't know. Anyway, that's out on October 31st. I'm super excited for Luigi's Mansion 3. Definitely going to be picking that one up. A couple other little news items here before we move on. Dr. Mario World, we talked about this game last week. We're still playing around with it. But Dr. Mario World came in at 2 million downloads and earned $100,000 in the first 72 hours that the game was available, which puts it as the fastest growing or the fastest start game for Nintendo Mobile yet. I would say that it's also the best game that Nintendo Mobile has released yet, because it's probably the closest to the actual version. I'm still playing Dr. Mario World. It's frustrating, but it's good.
I haven't played as much since I've been playing Builders 2 so much, but I'm still playing it. And,
In fact,
I gave it my $2
I've had time to
out
play
of
this
that
week.
100,000.
Yeah. I'm $2 of that 100,000.
I haven't touched it, nor Dragalia Lost. I don't know. I think the mobile games are really cool. I'm just not a fan of mobile gaming. It's nothing to do with me being against anything or
You just don't
that.
like any mobile games.
It's not just that. I mean, I've got an iPhone SE. The memory's really bad on it.
And
Yeah.
processor.
Yeah, and all you do is you download a game and then you get nothing but warnings when you try and take a photo. So it's just easier to not play games on the mobile.
Little
Just use it as a
sidestep.
phone.
Little sidestep
Yeah.
here since you mentioned Dragalia Lost. But when that game was new, I put out a video on my iPad from my iPad. I recorded it downloading the extra 700 megs that was needed to download the rest of the game. And since with my internet the way it is, it was about a minute and a half. So I recorded that and put it on my YouTube channel. And it's got a lot of traction just because of the music, because the music's really cool. But the last few days, there's been a lot of people debating about whether the video is real and that the download speed was actually that fast. I'm like, dudes, I screen capped the entire iPad screen. I just did not doctor this in any way.
I mean, if you sped it up, you would have put the Benny Hill music on it, right?
Well, actually, initially I got copyright hit on them because of the music, so I put redid the video using the Benny Hill music.
Oh wow, really?
I
Are you
did.
kidding?
I
Oh,
did
that's
not
amazing.
kidding. And then when they lifted the copyright on the song, I took the Benny Hill version down because Benny Hill version was still copyright claimed, but at least let me show it. Where before the original music, I couldn't even show it. But but even if I sped up the video, along with the video is like this anime hand-drawn cutscene that would have been sped up too, and it's not. So I didn't doctor that. That's legit.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good way of knowing. Why would anybody even? Anyway, people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
Speaking of mobile stuff, Pokemon Go got an update that includes a new appraisal tool that shows you the IVs.
Oh yes, IVs.
Okay. I don't play Pokemon. The IVs of Pokemon in a bar graph and allows for searches based on IV percentage. A 4-star searches 100%, 3 stars search between 81 and 99, 2 stars search between 65 and 80, 1 star searches between 50 and 64%, and 0 stars searches all under 50%. The percentages are calculated by adding the 3 IV scores together and dividing by 45, and this new tool went live earlier this week. Also, some upcoming in-game events from patch notes. You'll soon be able to take on Team Go Rocket Grunts in battle. Also, Shadow Pokemon are coming. You can catch mysterious Shadow Pokemon that the Rocket Grunts leave behind. And it says, is there a way to help these Pokemon? Of course there is. Battle minigames. Charged attack gameplay includes new minigames, and none of these updates appear to be live yet. Probably within the coming weeks, they will go live. Let's talk very quickly about a couple of events that are going on right now in a couple of games. All right, guys, speaking of Pokemon Go, Straw Hat Pikachu has now started appearing or will appear in the wild, and we'll have a matching Straw Hat available for your avatar in the Style Shop. And this will happen on July 22nd at 1 p.m. Pacific Time through July 29th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And the additional Pokemon Sword and Shield information are also going to be revealed on July 21st. My guess is this. It's not going to be Dynamaxing. It's not going to be Gigantamaxing. It's going to be Fantastamaxing. Pokemon bigger than the world.
Are they going to be fabulous?
Space Pokemon. I don't know. Also going on right now, it's actually started at the time of this recording. The final Splatoon 2 Splatfest, Team Chaos versus Team Order, is now going on. It's going to be the longest running Splatfest in Splatoon 2 history, and it will go through July 21st and will most likely have some kind of far-reaching implications for the Splatoon 2 universe. It's being called the Splatocalypse. If you want to be Team Chaos, you'll be teaming up with Pearl. If you want to be Team Order, you'll be teaming up with Team Marina. And we all know which one's going to win. Duh.
Yep.
Pearl, you're completely right, Pearl.
No.
Oh no, it will be.
It's
Pearl.
going to be Team Marina.
It'll be Pearl.
Why?
I will bet on this, Marty. I'll bet
Why?
with you.
Because everybody loves Chaos as long as it doesn't affect them.
No, it's because people go for the popular teams, then the underdog team always wins in Splatoon. Always wins every time.
I know.
I will agree with that.
Splatoon 1, it was a coin flip between the two, but which I jokingly called Waifu War. This one, there's no contest.
Well, this one's War of the Waifus. This is the other way around.
No.
I totally agree with that.
I'm excited to get stuck into it. I always mean to play more of Splatoon 2, and now it's kind of finished. It's like, well, now I should have definitely played more of it before.
People are saying that it's finished, but with the 5.0 update, we're going to be able to make our own Splatfest.
Yeah.
So that's actually going to be, I think, a fairly popular feature that will keep Splatoon 2 going for a while, because the team behind Splatoon said this week that Splatoon 3 is not even it's not anywhere in development at any stage.
Yeah,
because they're working on Animal Crossing.
The thing is, anyway, even if Splatoon 3 comes out, I mean, everybody's going to say it's a port of 2 until it eventually changes over time, so it doesn't really matter. They may as well just port 2 and then change it over time.
That's actually pretty right. So,
Um, just to side rail a minute here, this leaves me a question of what is going on with Nintendo's esports thing now, because, I mean, we've got I don't know if you guys have got an equivalent in America, but we have Nintendo UK Versus.
we have Nintendo versions.
Yeah, you have Nintendo Versus as well. So their lineup is getting thin now. Their lineup is getting very thin now because they dropped Arms, they dropped Pokken. They've got Splatoon 2, but how long is that going to last now? The last Splatfest is done.
Right.
Mario Kart's really getting old now. Like Nintendo, they're gonna have to start releasing some more of these esports thing if they're gonna take the versus thing to the next chapter.
Well, they're gonna rest on Smash, and they're also going to loop in. And I'm not saying this is right, but they're going to loop in Mario Maker.
No, I agree. I think Mario Maker totally deserves to be in there. I mean, it's a good job that they don't play over the internet at the events, but yeah. Also, the Switch Lite is going to have some implications to this because I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of the Versus tournaments. I have. The way it works is you bring your own Switch and put your Switch in the dock. Yeah, that's going to be awkward now.
Well, they've had ways to do it back when they played games with 3DSs, like during Pokemon tournaments. So I'm sure they'll have some mechanism to.
They'll have their secret dockable version of Switch Lite.
They'll have a process to copy a profile from the home unit to one of their dev units, which then is played off of their dev unit that can be docked or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a copy, not a move, so it doesn't affect the original Switch, and then the profile on the copied Switch is just disposable at the end of the tournament. That's what I'd like to see, at least.
I actually like Nintendo when they're getting on the esports thing, you see. So I want to see more games like that. I think that the legacies that they have is much better than a quick one and done game. Arms was fantastic. People really didn't give that as much attention as it deserved, mainly because of Splatoon 2, like crashing its party. No pun intended.
Cannibalized Arms, and I said it from the very beginning. Why would you release two huge titles for esports this close to each other? Because everybody's just going to drop Arms like a hot potato and go to Splatoon, and guess what? They did.
Yeah. Completely.
But did. The game that nobody expects Nintendo to be making right now is Arms 2, and now would be the time to do it.
I think so. True. I think or maybe next year,
2020, like early 2020, Arms 2 would be freaking amazing.
Once Smash has been out for a year, I think that's a good time to do it.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, so you know what's going to happen, guys.
Is you put in one of the Arms characters into Splatoon, into Smash as DLC.
You know what's going to happen now. But yeah, we're going to get Pocket Tournament 2. We're not going to get Arms 2. We're going to get Pocket Tournament 2.
I would be okay with that, but I would really like to see Arms 2 as well.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
I really think Pocket Tournament was very the word I don't want, underappreciated. That's the word I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. Underappreciated. I just think that both versions of that game, the Wii U version and the Switch version, both struck at times when it was just awkward for them to be the game.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, crap. I'm sorry about that. I never played Tekken or Pokken or any of those games. My daughter has the Switch version, but has since lost the cart. She's been looking for it and doesn't know where it is.
We still have it. We just, like my son and I, we don't play it. He's good at it. He beats me every time. But I mean, it's one of those games where you can try to be really technical with it, but it's really just button mashing. You get you in a corner and do the same, move that keeps you from jumping, but also knocks you down over and over and over again.
Yeah, I enjoy Pokken. I think it is a game that needs a bit of revising now. So I think that a second version, a sequel would be
You know what I
amazing.
would really like to see them do with it is, do you remember the old Dreamcast game Power Stone?
Yes, of course I do. What a
I
fantastic game that is.
I would love to see a Pokken game with Power Stone engine.
Yeah,
Like you got Pokemon running everywhere, shooting stuff, and you come in close, and the attacks change. But then, like, because there is that mechanic in Pokken Tournament where it's like if you do the right kind of attack, and if it hits, you go from 3D to 2D. Well, take the needing to hit the attack out. Just
yeah.
make it a party brawl game.
I like
Already
the
done it
three.
with Pokemon Rumble. Just make it Pokken Tournament.
I like the 3D sections way more than I like the 2D in
Yeah,
that as
me
well.
too.
Yeah.
And it would work. I mean, you could bring those same attacks in. You can gang up on people. What I really want, Gary, is I just really want to know.
No, so
I loved that series so much.
yeah, it's why the Dreamcast was the best console ever. Anyway, moving on.
Oh my God, I'm not even going to dignify that with comment, but I will agree with you. It's probably one of the most overlooked series of all time.
Yeah.
Sega, please give us a new Power Stone on the Switch. It would be fantastic. You know it. You know it would be good on the Switch because the Switch being able to be anywhere, 4 players connected, tabletop mode, Power Stone. Come on. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about what we've been playing. All right. Sadly, this week I have not been playing anything at all. I'm looking forward to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. That's what my game will be for this week, but I can't talk about that because I don't have it yet. Actually, it just confirmed on my Switch that it's downloaded and it's ready to go. But I've not played any games other than Dr. Mario World. I've already talked about that. So I'm going to turn this over to Gary and Jesse this week. And Gary, we're going to start with you because you haven't been on the show for a while. Why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
Yeah, so I haven't really been playing that much. As you guys know, I'm more of a casual player at the minute than I am a hardcore Nintendo fan. I've life's getting in the way, and I don't get to pick up my Switch too much. But when I do, I've been playing Mario Maker 2. I think that it's running circles over the first one. It's missing the charm. It's missing some of the things that made the first one stand out on its own legs. But I think because of that, including the drop in the amiibo costumes, I actually think Mario Maker 2 is better as a Mario game now. Where I feel that Mario Maker 1 was sort of... It almost didn't feel like Mario at times because people would just make like Mega Man levels and Sonic levels and stuff like that. However, the same with Smash. So I think that they're both brilliant games in their own right. The modes I brought them for is the online. I'm so disappointed that Mario Maker 2's versus and co-op online multiplayer just is... I think it's the game with the single worst online experience that I've ever played. I'm not even kidding, and it's not an exaggeration. It's unplayable to me. And it's such a shame because they're trying to push Switch Online, but with Smash and Mario Maker 2 now, I have no faith in Nintendo's online capabilities at all. But the rest of Mario Maker 2, sharing levels and the story mode is just, it's hitting notes that like it really needed to hit, and it's fulfilled that 2D Mario that I wanted. So overall, if I had to score it, so far I would say probably 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Like, I'm really enjoying it. It's just a shame that online's so broken. And other than that, I've been diving right into the Mario. I'm playing a bit of Mario Land on the Game Boy. Now, I know that you can complete this in like a half an hour sitting, and I did over and over again, except I've got older, my reflexes have slowed down, and I'm used to the new mechanics of Mario, because guess what? Going back to this game, it's kind of hard to control now. And I did 2 runs and did not finish and did not complete on both runs. And I'm so ashamed of myself.
I remember having that problem when the 3DS eShop launched. That was one of the games that launched with, and as Virtual Console. I picked it up and played it once or twice, and I couldn't get it finished.
So the first playthrough, I decided to run like you do with most modern Mario games, and yeah, that's a bad idea on that game. So the second playthrough, I decided to walk, and I got very close to the end, but I'm still honest. I'm so gutted. I'm gonna keep playing this game now to eventually finish it.
I love that game because of the quirkiness of it and the way
Yeah.
it does not fit into Mario, seemingly. With like, you stomp on the turtles and they blow up, and the fireball bounces all over the place. It's the Super Ball. And the fact that it's not Princess Peach, it's Daisy, and Topanga is the villain, which I would love to see him come back to, just that whole thing. But that whole game feels like Mario is sliding across the floor on a very loose film of like vomit or ice or something. Like it like you said, you can't just run through it. It's fast. It's a lot faster and looser than we're used to Mario games control being. While at the same time, it's very super responsive. It's just faster.
Yeah, it's very twitchy.
Mario sprite's like what, 8 pixels by 8 pixels, something tiny.
I still to this day can just out of the blue, the music from this game will come back to my mind.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's the single. I honestly think it's the Mario game with the single best music, because games like Mario World have like a lead song which is awesome, but every single song in Mario Land is killer. Like every single one will bring some sort of nostalgia or feeling back or something.
And Link's Awakening remake gives me hope.
Yeah.
That one day we'll get this and Mario 6 Golden Coins, both of them remade for a modern era. Because if any two games from the Game Boy deserve a remake, it is those two games.
Oh, 6 Golden Coins especially. Like, as much as I love Mario Land and the music, like I said, I think is hands down one of the best on the Game Boy. I think the better game is 6 Golden Coins. And even then, that's still a game where the lands in it are so different to what we expect. Like, Mario has become very predictable in where we go on it. But have you ever been to a haunted house or inside the belly of a whale?
or have you ever uncovered the secrets inside a giant Mario robot statue?
Yeah, I always thought that was just Lego.
Yeah, it's like a toy Lego robot.
I think there are symbols in the background that are like a Lego-like toy in Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
The actual logo.
You can find the deluxe version of that's out there. It's floating around. We won't tell you where to find it, but it's the colorized version of 6 Golden Coins. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant.
So
it's
yeah,
out there.
That's
it works on a Super Nintendo Classic. I don't know how I know that. It just does.
If only there was other consoles that it could work on. But
it's true.
Other than that, that's all I've been playing. I have got another game to play, which is Tiny Metal, but I've not yet booted it up.
I got you. I've got my eye on Tiny Metal because where I really wanted Wargroove to scratch that Advance Wars itch, it did not.
What? I thought it scratched it with a handful of claws.
See, I don't know. There was just something about it that just did not. It didn't thrill me.
Okay.
I'm still to this day not finished Wargroove. I could do it. I don't know. It was more Fire Emblem-y than I wanted it to be, and not enough Advance Wars.
Oh, see, I love Fire Emblem, so any Fire Emblem.
Well, there you go. So like 2 weeks from now, we know where you'll be.
Oh yeah, in a cave. fighting over which school party I want to go to. I don't like you guys. You wear yellow.
Oh, you need to do like a weekly, like, what would be great is somebody did like, and I guess this is what I'm saying is like, if you did it like the like a high school update, like a drama vlog from your time in Fire Emblem, like so and so's dating so and so. They're in the yellow school.
Do I get to do it in the style of Zac Efron?
I mean, go right ahead, man. Knock yourself out. Jesse, what have you been playing?
So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've been putting a lot of time into Dragon Quest Builders 2. I think I don't know how many hours I've put in yet because it won't tell me until I've played it for 10 days. So this weekend I'll know. My guess is I might have put in 20 to 25 hours already. Yeah, the game has definitely got some content to it. Like the um, when I talked about it last week, I only had like an hour and a half in, but shortly after that, you got sent to this other island, and you pretty much spend like the next 8 or 10 hours of gameplay at that island. You know, it's like solving the locals' problems and ultimately killing the big bad of that island. And that in itself feels like a satisfying self-contained game alone. And if that's where it ended, I would have been happy. But that was just part one. That's Act One. So apparently, there's a total of, I think I read there was a total of 3 of those islands, and I've so far I finished the second one. So I've gone through this 8 to 10-ish hour arc twice, and I've got one more to go. But before I get there, there's stuff I have to do on the home island, which might take another. I think that took like 2 to 4 hours of work before I can get to the next island. So definitely a lot of content in it. Yeah, the game does have some problems. Um, though I think the biggest glitch that I've seen, it almost felt like it was going to soft lock on me a few times. Like when the game, if I get to a certain point in the game and it wants to run a cutscene, you know, any NPCs following me will try to get to a certain relative location to me, and once they stop walking, then they'll start their conversation. I put a tweet showing a video of this yesterday, or well, both times happening, but this NPC ran behind me, couldn't find footing, so kept literally jumping behind me, and the cutscene started, so I can no longer move. I had to wait for him to finally find a place to stand long enough for him to start the conversation. And if he never found that spot, I would have been soft locked. It does autosave pretty frequently, so I wouldn't have lost too much if that happened. But ultimately, I did need to. And the game has some interesting physics. Like if I come across a tree, I can cut the bottom layers of the tree down, and the top half of the tree is still floating in midair.
So it's still very Minecraft in that respect.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it's amusing. But what surprises me, it kind of amazes me, is on the islands where there's major story elements, is nothing respawns. You know, the monsters will respawn, but anything you've destroyed does not come back, and it remembers what you destroyed. So if you cut a cactus down, halfway down when you first enter the island, and come back to it 5 hours later, it's still that half of the cactus is still floating in the air, and while the first island didn't deal with depth at all, the second one does. So it's a big 3D space to keep track of. So and the loading times are long, but once it's loaded, things go pretty smoothly. And again, I very rarely play docked, but as I mentioned earlier, the text is so small. Sometimes, for a while, I did play docked just so I could see the text better. And I don't know if other games have the problem, but that switch got really hot in that dock. So all those bits and bytes and that is keeping track of is a lot of math on that CPU. But I've very rarely seen a frame dip, so I wouldn't exactly count that as an issue. I've seen it once or twice, but only when there's like 20 NPCs jumping in unison and cheering because I finished a task. But in normal gameplay, I've never seen the frame drop. But I'm still having fun. I still plan on playing this through until I beat the story, and then I have a feeling once the story is beaten, I still have just a sandbox of the home island I can do whatever I want with, and there's an online function where I'm able to go into other people's home islands, but it's not just open to the world. They have to open it up. So when I tried going to someone else's world, none was open to see. So you probably have to like arrange with friends. If hey, open your game up so I can go in your world and show. And I think something like 4 other characters can be running around in your world. But I've never tried that. And so
that sounds pretty much the same as what Animal Crossing does, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where you have to invite people in, yeah.
Ibisol asks, do you need to put in roofs to stop them looking at your shower? Yes. In fact, I made a video clip and put it on Twitter yesterday. I finished building a shower, which was a task, and as soon as I finished making the shower, I used it. So my character basically went from armored to just being in towels and then taking a shower. But since I finished a task, the entire population of the town hovered around me to celebrate the task completion. So they're doing this while I'm in the shower. I'm like, this isn't creepy at all.
How long until like some concerned moms group posts a blog about this? New game on Nintendo Switch allows you to have people look in on you as you shower. You'll never believe the results. Click here.
Right. Though you don't have access to tiles until really near the end of your each town segment, but you do learn to make the tile ceiling tile frames out of whatever ingredients is locally available, so you can top it. But I've never bothered with it. I've always kept the roofs open just so I could see what I'm doing, without having to go into a building and then have the camera zoom in tight on my back. The miner. See, do you have the highest snaps version? I don't know what that means. Ibisol asks. The miners, they were dropping yellow hearts. Right, so if you saw the hearts being dropped by NPCs, like yellow is 1 point. They go to orange and red, which is more points. That's like how much gratitude is earned by the citizens of this town. The more the gratitude you collect, then you're able to upgrade each town. Starts at level 1, max is level 4. And then upgrading the level will give you more recipes you can build from and brings more NPCs into your town as a population. Can't think of anything else to say about that, but again, I'm not a Minecraft player. I've never really cared for it, and I did like Dragon Quest Builders 1 demo. I didn't play Builders 1 because I had to start over. The demo didn't carry over. But though I heard IGN said that they did carry over, so I don't know, either they're wrong or they patched it in. So I don't know. I haven't went back to check, but so I probably would have liked Builders as well if I didn't play the demo. Here I didn't play demo to Builders 2, so I'm liking the gameplay. So if you like the Dragon Quest music and themes and art style, even if you're not a Minecraft fan, give this a look. And Guru says demo carries over 2. Okay, of 2? This is Tim's telling me this in chat. Okay, anyways, okay, so apparently the demo does carry over now. I didn't try it, so I didn't test it. So we talked a lot about Mario, Dr. Mario World last week. I'm still playing it. Just entered the 5th world, which I think is the final world that they've released so far. And then, once I'm done with that, the only thing left to do outside of multiplayer play is just trying to grind to get more stars to to unlock the bonus levels, which I highly doubt I'll ever see them. And then I've increased my rank to I think the third rank of multiplayer. My score is over 1200. So I'm still trying to
Yeah.
keep that up.
So I haven't touched it at all. How does the multiplayer work on it? Is it real time
Yeah, it's real time. It's
multiplayer? Yeah.
like Tetris 99. You're playing against other people in real time. This is real time, head to head
Yeah.
against someone else. And the abilities of your doctor is slightly tweaked in multiplayer versus the story mode. Like for uh, if like I'm Dr. Bowser, so in story mode when I activate it, a random 2 adjacent rows will be wiped out, but in single player only 1 row.
Mm.
So and each doctor has different effects, which also is slightly tweaked for single player versus multiplayer. Yeah, and then they yeah. So if you're the board will drop down in time, naturally. But if one person clears their board completely before the other one, then their board will drop and like I think 4 rows, and you'll get four new rows as well, but you had 0 rows drop, and this so you still should have room to play where you're going to give your opponent problems, and eventually you'll reach a ceiling where you're going to lose rows from the top, and you're only going to have 5 or 6 rows to play with, and that's when the game gets really hard. And that's normally where I lose it, because it's just a matter of who can throw junk to the opponent first. As soon as you do, you win. But it's still fun. I'm winning maybe every other, or winning 2 out of every 3. So it's still, normally once I play a game for a week, I'm lucky to win 1 in 5, and this is not fun anymore. But this one I'm still playing. And then I did play a little bit of Tetris 99. I just played it. I literally played it after recording last week. Played it for about an hour just to unlock the Splatoon theme, and then I stopped. So I have it unlocked, but I haven't done anything with it.
Yeah, I did the same. I got the Splatoon theme. It was pretty tough. I was finishing in the 20s the majority of the time.
Well, see, I had a hard time getting past top 50. So I think the people who weren't good at the game stopped playing, which then leaves only the people who are good.
Yeah.
Because I used to be able to get top 50 almost every time, and could get top 20 maybe 1 in 4, which sounds like you're supposed to, but I've known people who's never seen top 20 out of all. So I think the people who are less skilled just stop playing.
Yeah, yes. Tetris 99, I hope they keep doing these themes. The Splatoon one's really good.
Yeah, it took me a while to get used to the coloring, but once I got used to it, it was fine. I'll probably... I still don't know... I like the music of the Game Boy version, but I don't know if I like the graphics, just because there is less contrast between the pieces.
Yeah, I still like, even though I like these themes, I think I still like the LG setup that they had.
I hope they do this in an update. Let us choose what visual theme we want and what music theme we want separately. Then I probably would choose like a Splatoon art and Game Boy audio.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the Splatoon 2 theme. I'll just be honest. It was pretty repetitive. I did like the visuals though.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, again, it took me a while to get used to it, but once I got used to it, it was fine.
I think I
Mega
guess I was kind of
Mega
let
Dragon
down
wants a
by
Pokemon
it.
team.
I was kind of let down by it because I was like, after the Game Boy version, I was thinking that maybe we would see, like an NES version and the SNES version from Tetris and Dr. Mario, and maybe the N64, Tetris Attack, or maybe
I
I
think
would
we'll
love them to bring
still
some of those
get more of
Tetris
those.
DS themes in, like the Mario theme from Tetris DS, different things like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. Mecha Dragon says he'd like to see a Pokemon theme, which might happen in November
That's
with Sword and Shield coming out.
more than likely it will. Because it seems like Nintendo is using its online games to promote other games
Right.
that
Well,
they
which is
like.
well they blatantly said it back when they started with the mobile space. That's the whole point
Right.
of the mobile space.
All the DLC for Smash has been pretty much to promote other games, right?
Right. Yeah, looks like
Which
we
means,
lost
I mean,
Gary.
well,
Hopefully he comes
except for
back.
Banjo. That's probably just because people wanted Banjo in. But I mean, we got Joker for the Persona 5S, and then the Musu game, and then you've got the Hero in for Dragon Quest 11 as it gets ready to launch, and I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, kind of little branch off of that. Nintendo announced this, games coming in August. No, was it August? No, it was. I think it was games. No, I don't remember if it was. I think it was must have been games in August. But they they mentioned the that the Hero would be coming out within that month. So if that was August, then it should be coming soon.
Oh yeah, I fully expect it. I mean, August is pretty much the last month of their summer quarter, right? Summer time frame.
Right.
July, June, July, August.
Yeah. Gary says his PC crashed.
Yeah. So we will definitely see the Hero then, and we'll see Banjo probably December, January, somewhere around in there.
Eh, probably not January because they still have two more DLCs to announce and release. That's supposed to end in February, March. So we'll probably get that probably October-ish.
Banjo, October,
Banjo,
November,
September. No, I don't know. I don't
August,
remember.
September. No, there's no way it'll be August,
Not,
September.
probably late September, early October, and then still room for two more after that.
Yep. Frisk gets announced and released in December, and Waluigi comes out in February. I like it. Uh, all right, let's move into our community spotlight. We've got a voicemail and some listener questions this week. All right. First and foremost, let's hop over here to our email where we have a question from Warren G. Akers. And he asked us this. He said, "Hey dads, I had a thought recently. Can any of you verify with 100% certainty that Breath of the Wild for Wii U did not receive the same Labo VR update as the Switch version? I realize it wouldn't make much sense, but the Wii U version received all of the same prior updates and DLC content as the Switch version, including the initial DLC with the equipable red Nintendo Switch t-shirt for Link to wear. It is simply a curiosity, but I no longer own a Wii U and can't seem to find the answer online. Thanks." So we did some digging earlier and came across the website perfectly-nintendo.com, where they do catalog updates to to games, and it says here that according to this website, the last update for the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild was the 1.4.1 update. This was released on December 14th of last year. The patch notes say made various fixes to improve gameplay. And it says, and additional notes as mentioned above, the update is only for the Wii U version of this game. The next update made to Breath of the Wild was January 31st of 2018. And it was in January 31st, 2018 of North America, February 1st, 2018 in Europe and Japan. And this was a double update, actually. The Switch only, you can now select Chinese traditional or Chinese simplified or Korean in the language settings menu on the Switch. And then there was a voice language selection, not is not supported for the above languages and various fixes to improve gameplay. Then the next update was the 1.6.0 update. This was for the Labo VR kit, and it came out April 25th of 2019, only on Nintendo Switch. And so if you're out there and you have Breath of the Wild for the Wii U, we believe that version is sitting at 1.5.1.0, and the Switch version is now sitting at 1.6.0. And if you are out there and you have the Wii U version of the game and you can confirm this for us, tweet at us at Nintendo Dads. Maybe include a screenshot of the version as well so we can answer Warren's question with 100% accuracy. But according to this website, no, the Wii U did not receive the same update. So it is no longer parallel with the Switch version. All right. Jesse, we have a voicemail, correct?
We do.
All right. Why don't you play
Gary
that for
would
us?
come back in order to hear it, but hopefully, but he'll just have to miss it. So this is from Mecha Dragon 101, who has been listening in our chat. So
Hey, fellow dads, how are you guys? Your new users, Mecha Dragon 101. Kind of been on the podcast for about a year. You guys need to help me get through work and whatnot. I'll make it brief. So my question basically is, if you can either travel back in time or be like kind of a child within any generation of gaming, what would it be? For example, I would love to be a child back when like the Super Nintendo was around. But I was born around the time that the 64 came out to have a conscious memory. Again, basically, I was just asking, like, if you were like reborn in a specific generation of gaming, what would it be? Thank you very much. Hope that makes sense. Looking forward to the podcast later today.
wait. Oh, I don't hear you, Marty. No, I do not hear you.
No. Okay.
Now I hear
Well,
you.
now there I am.
Now I hear you.
Technical difficulties. Man, thanks for sending in an awesome question. I really do wish Gary was here to answer this because I feel like as the resident old guys on the show, that we probably were born
Yeah.
like when gaming was starting.
Yeah, that's definitely was me because I grew up playing at Atari VCS and in television, and I bought the NES when I was in 8th grade in 1987. So
Wow.
I was 13 years old.
I was 8 in 1988 when I got mine, and it was the Christmas of '88, and I got the NES with the power pad and the zapper that had Mario and Duck Hunt and Track and Field.
Yeah, I think I've had that, or my cousins did. Eva still asked me which version of Intellivision. It was the original Intellivision one. But because this question really doesn't apply to me, it would be applied to people more in their 20s to 30s. I asked my son, who is just turned 19. I had him listen to the voicemail and asked him how would he answer it. He grew up playing the older games just because I had the older games, but really, he was born like a year or two before GameCube was released. I don't remember what year that was out. He was born in 2000. So he said he would like to have been around for the NES era just because that's the era he knows least about.
Yeah.
He has played some NES games from Virtual Console games that I've bought and the NES Classic, and I remember he used to play Mario 3 on an old NES before it got busted. But other than that, he doesn't remember ever playing an NES.
Now, I mean, for me, I began console gaming on the NES, and so that's always going to be my answer. That is, like, I think you gravitate naturally toward whatever your system was when you were a child, right? And so, like, it's always going to be the NES, my memory, and the SNES, because that was 12 and 13 for me. So my entire, like almost my entire teenage years was Super Nintendo.
The Super Nintendo came out my senior year in high school. So,
Yeah, I remember being 12, like going into junior high. So that was like, I remember I will never forget to this day playing Super Mario World for the first time and just being blown away.
yeah, I remember I was at my friend's house and he had pre-ordered the Super Nintendo. I didn't even know you can do that at the time. But so I was at his house. His mom goes, "Hey, we need to go to the store to pick up your Super Nintendo." I'm like, "Dude, that's awesome!" So like I was over the next day and already playing it with him, and then I got
remember
mine shortly after that.
a friend of mine at school got one, and I didn't even know they were out. And so immediately, of course, I go home and I'm like, "Dad, why do I not have the Super Nintendo?" Like Trey has a Super Nintendo. Why don't I have a Super Nintendo? I want, and I like we. It was during when it first came out, and so there weren't any games. Like we're spoiled today. I think that like we don't realize that like when the Super Nintendo launched, it launched with Mario World, Populous, and F-Zero, and Pilot Wings.
Pilot Wings, yeah.
Yeah, 4 games. 1 third-party game, 3 first-party games. That was it. There were no downloadable games. There was nothing. So it's like you have these 4 games. And I remember getting Populous because...
That game's rough without a mouse.
Yeah, it is. But I remember getting Populous because that was all there was, right? Like, and the thing was, is like you go to the store and it wasn't that Populous, F-Zero, and Pilot Wings were at every store. It was whatever they had, like whatever they got. And then we get like 1 or 2 copies. I remember like having F-Zero, finally getting F-Zero and being just floored by it. And so like, I know there's some nostalgia in there, but I really do think that like the NES and Super Nintendo were magic at that time because like they were doing things that had never been done on a home console.
Yeah, and I remember most of my friends would use the AV inputs, but I still preferred to use the RF switch because I found out you can chain them. So I had the Super Nintendo one attached to the NES, attached to the input of my VCR, and the output of the VCR going into my TV. So I didn't have to have different settings for different inputs, like I kind of do with my HDMI.
You could just
switch.
turn on the one you wanted.
Just turn on the one you wanted, and when my friends saw that, they're like, "That's kind of cool." Downside is the quality of the RF switch output wasn't as good as direct video output.
No, because you're splitting it, right?
Well, not even that. Just in general, the RF quality wasn't as good. The colors were a little muddied.
Kids today will never, and I'm not going to turn this into like Nintendo grandpas or whatever, but like they don't understand having to put the channel on 3 or 4 to get to the video game,
Well, yeah, they definitely don't remember actually having to turn the dial to change the...
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I see, I don't even remember that because I did, like the TV that was in my room for Nintendo actually had a remote, but the remote, it had a power button, numbers, and a volume up and down. That was it. And it looked like, it had wood grain. It was a wood grain remote.
Nice. Because of course it was. It was the...
Because everything was wood grain in the 80s, right?
Right.
Mega Dragon, this is such a good question. If you don't mind, and you can tell us, is he still in the chat, by the way?
I believe so.
I'm going to run a poll this week on our Twitter page, or on our Twitter, on Twitter, whatever. I sounded like I'm from the 80s there. I'm going to run a poll on our Twitter about this and see where people want to fall there, about where they would want to be born if they weren't born in the 80s or 90s, and that's like always like I have to understand. Like I grew up there, so I have this special nostalgia and memories and sentimentality attached to it. But for a lot of people, it's outside looking in, especially right now for Nintendo Switch Online with the NES app and Virtual Console and everything. To me, it's a big deal, but for other people, it may not be. So I don't know. Like that's a fantastic one of the best questions we've ever had. Guys, I don't think Gary's coming back. I think his PC has decided to finally be disagreeable with him for the evening, and so we're going to close this show out. This has been episode 239. We want to thank you for hanging out with us, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast device.
I did think of what I wanted to say from back an hour ago. We were talking about Tetris 99 physically coming with a 12-month subscription, and I was going to say, like all other 12-month subscription redemption codes, if you already have a single plan, you can apply it.
It's stackable.
It'll stack and it'll extend your time. If you have the family plan, probably you won't be able to use it.
You're out of luck.
Better off giving it to a friend or reselling it or something.
Yeah, you can do that and make a quick buck off of it. Well, guys, that has been episode 239. And again, we want to thank you for hanging out with us over on YouTube or your favorite podcast device and service. And we want to say huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Tim Alf for supporting us at the producer level. And, of course, all of you who support us over on patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. And we want to let you know, if you haven't heard, we've got a website now, nintendodads.org, where you can find our latest YouTube videos, tweets, podcast episodes, links to all of our social media, upcoming blogs by members of the Nintendo Dads. And now the Nintendo Dads shop for Nintendo Dads merch is open on that website. That's nintendodads.org. Go over there and check it out. Recommend it to your friends. Write it on bathroom stalls. I don't care.
Another thing that I'm starting to work on is like a section that'll have like recommended accessories or items from Amazon.
Yep. And so be on the lookout for that over at nintendodads.org. You can find all of our social media there. And as usual, you can be like Mecha Dragon 101 and call in and leave us a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Hint, hint, they're the same thing. We just took the words out, the letters out, put numbers back in. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, and we will read your question on the show, or our brand new email address, podcast@nintendodads.org. Use it. So we have
no one's used it yet.
Well, that sounds like a challenge. Send us a question at podcast@nintendodads.org and check that out. We want to say a big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show, and Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for all the sweet artwork they have produced for us and are producing for us. You can download us from your favorite podcast app of choice like CastBox, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or Spotify. Again, guys, we want to thank you for hanging out with us. For me, for Jesse, and for the busted computer Gary, which I think he probably has thrown it up against the wall by now. This has been episode 239. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.